Good evening, everyone. I'm going to try and keep this as civil as possible and do my damnedest not to swear. And for anybody who's watched this channel, you'll know just how hard that is. Anyway, I want to talk about Lizzie Dearden. You know, the journalist from The Independent. But before I do that, I just want to point out something. Apparently YouTube are going out of their way for one particular user known as Granniopterix. Oh, God, even getting that word wrong. Granniopterix. Lovely little YouTuber. Lots of factual content. Recommend giving her a follow and a sub if you haven't. I'll be linking her channel in the description below. But back to Lizzie Dearden. As much as I'd like to call her another name. But I digress. Lizzie Dearden, for those who don't know, is obsessed with Tommy Robinson. She has written over 200 articles about Tommy Robinson alone. And also, for those who don't know, she's also responsible for collapsing a trial, to which The Independent had to fork out £10,000. Meanwhile, Tommy Robinson, who had basically gone outside Leeds Crown Court and recorded the Pakistani Muslims, or whatever nationality they were, coming out of the court and asking them, and I quote, "How do you feel about your verdict, sir?" End quote. He was arrested falsely for breach of the peace, which was then changed to contempt of court. And then, in less than an hour, he was sent to jail by a judge, not a jury. Speaking of that, another thing I want to go off on the side on, isn't it funny how the Sky reporter outside Tommy Robinson's case, you know, the one where he got pepper sprayed in the face and all that, isn't it funny how that woman from Sky, if you can even call her a journalist, but then again, we know they're activists, she tried to get Tommy to, quote, make a statement of, are you going to go in and plead guilty or not guilty to the charges? Yeah, that kind of bias. And she had to be reminded, he has never been tried by a jury. It's always by a judge. Literally, judge, jury, and executioner. Which is reminding me of Dredd. Anyway, the point is, Tommy has been persecuted because of all this. Lizzie Dearden, in one particular case, as said, she has broken reporting restrictions. Tommy didn't. Tommy Robinson merely reported information that was already put out by the BBC, and as such, it was in the public domain. But of course, the mainstream media won't tell you this. Yep, you know it's coming. Because, say it with me, folks, it doesn't suit the narrative. And yet, these people have the audacity to say, oh, he pled guilty to contempt of court. No, he didn't. He did not. He didn't even get a fair trial. He wasn't even allowed to speak to his lawyer. Now, that is shady at best. And at worst, that is an organised kidnapping of Tommy, the way I look at it. But I'm not here to just talk about what happened at Leeds Crown Court. Because Lizzie Dearden has also made false, libellous, slanderous statements regarding Tommy Robinson. In fact, she was the person who basically wanted a YouTuber known as Dick Coughlan, who, if you do even 5 minutes of research, you will find out that Dick Coughlan is a genuine racist, a genuine Nazi. And basically, when he went round, he live streamed him going to visit Tommy Robinson's family home. The family was forced to move. They had to leave because of what that man did. And the kicker on all this was he even threatened Tommy, and he said, and I quote, "Oh, and by the way, I am gonna mince your kids, mate." End quote. And he even finished it all off with a big smirky looking grin on his face, like he just won the lottery. But the mainstream media will always admit information like that because they know it would make them look bad. How quickly do you think it would destroy Lizzie Dearden's career if people found out about that? I think she would lose her job just like that. That's the thing. But the kicker is, she even put an article out that falsely linked Tommy Robinson to the Finsbury Mosque attacker, Darren Osborne. And she basically said that Tommy had sent direct messages, I believe on what was Twitter, to Darren Osborne. Yet, if you look up the transcripts for Darren Osborne, guess what? There is no information whatsoever that Tommy Robinson actually sent those things. You know why? Because he bloody well didn't. Now, I don't know about you, but that is a pretty libelous statement to make, Lizzie Dearden. This is me talking to you directly now. That is a pretty despicable thing to do. To not only try to link him with a terrorist, but to willingly lie like that. And then on top of all that, you sent a YouTuber to dox Tommy. Please explain your actions. You won't. I know you won't. Because, you see, the left-wing media, the left-wing journalists, like Dearden here, they are masters of a very special ancient Chinese art. Okay, maybe I got that last bit wrong. It's not Chinese, but hey-ho. Anyway, they are a master of that legendary art called projection. The problems that they usually have, they like to project onto other people. That would be like if I went into fucking work and God damn it. I told you, it's hard. It really is hard. But anyway, it would be like if I went into work, I went to my boss, "You're fat." Of course, I'd be fired on the spot for that, but the point is, he's much skinnier than I am, and I'm a much bigger guy. I'm like 18 bloody stone right now, and I probably should be doing something about it. But this is not about my weight. The point is, it's me projecting my problems onto someone else. That's what they're a master of. So Lizzie Dearden also made claims that Tommy was stalking her and harassing her. Yet, he only ever tried to contact her once, and that was based off of the fact that she made allegations against Tommy Robinson, which every person has the right to reply. Or sorry, they should have the right to reply. But when Lizzie Dearden got visited by Tommy Robinson, security guard basically had a conversation with him. They were all jovial, having a civil chat. There was no, "I'm banging on the doors, I want in," like a fat kid in a cake shop, or outside of it in this case. It wasn't like that. It wasn't, "Oh, he was very agitated and angry," like she tried to claim. Nuh-uh. No. He was very peaceful, very calm, wanted to have a conversation. She claimed harassment. Do you know what things like that do? It discredits people who have genuine harassment issues, who have genuine issues with stalkers. It desensitizes the word. Just like the left like to desensitize the word fascist. and obviously project that to the supposed far right. So, Lizzie Dearden, when are you going to come out and be a woman, since you can't be a man, unless you ask the transvestites and what have you. Anyway, be a woman, man up, or woman up, or whatever you want to call it, come out and make a public apology to Tommy for your libellous, slanderous statements. If you've got the balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case, both. I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts you won't, Lizzie Dearden, because you are a spineless coward. Oh, you are all well and good. You know what you remind me of? You're basically a newspaper version of a keyboard warrior fucking frantically typing away, trying to say some hateful message. But then when somebody comes after you, in fact, I've got an even better way of describing you. You're like a chihuahua. A female chihuahua. You bark and bark and bark, and then when a bigger dog comes up and actually stands up to you, you whimper and you cower away. Like a female dog. Am I wrong? Prove it. Prove it. Come out, public television, and apologise to him for all the libellous, slanderous statements, false accusations of being linked to a terrorist, and false claims of harassment against you, because he has not harassed you like that. He is not on the same level as Alex Belfield, who went out of his way to do stalking against his former employees. Are you willing to admit that and prove me wrong? I want you to prove me wrong. But right now, as long as you cower in your house, you will affirm my suspicions. And to anybody who says, oh, you don't have the brass balls to go up to her and say that, oh, I fucking would. Oh, I would. If she literally came outside my house, I would tell her that to her face. If I saw her in London, I would say that to her face. If I saw her on public transport, I would say that to her face. And I wouldn't care how many people look at me in contempt or admiration or whatever. I wouldn't even care if the bus driver kicked me off the frigging bus. I would have the balls to speak to her like that. Because I do not mince my words, I do not sugarcoat things, and I'm not afraid to stand up for truth and justice. Lizzie, on the other hand, stands against that. Unless she can prove me wrong. But if she doesn't want to answer these allegations, how long do you think it will be, Lizzie, before Tommy Robinson puts a libel and slander case against you? How much do you think you'll have to pay for that, Answers on a postcard. Because I'll tell you one thing, Lizzie Dearden. If he takes you to court, he is going to absolutely wipe the floor with you. He is literally going to be like, grab out his mop, and he is literally going to clean the floor with you. And yes, I'm doing a poor job, by the way. But the point is, she will be ripped to pieces on the back of this. Absolutely ripped to pieces. At the end of the day, Lizzie Dearden, you have a choice to make. Whether or not I put that back in the cupboard or whatever. Anyway, you have a choice, Lizzie Dearden. Woman up, apologise, and retract your slanderous statements and your false crimes. Or, later down the line, we'll see Tommy Robinson put a libel and slander case against you, and I will love to see you squirm in front of a judge as he bangs down that gavel and finds you wanting. And I wonder how much compensation he will get on the back of that. Because bear in mind, For those that don't know, because of the false linking to a terrorist, he received death threats from Islamists who were indoctrinated by people like Ali Dawa. She is directly responsible for that. I don't think a High Court judge, or even a regular small claims court judge, is going to look very kindly on you for that, Lizzie Dearden. So I wonder, are you going to apologise, or are you going to potentially face Tommy in a libel case and have to fork out hundreds of thousands of pounds potentially to cover for the damages you did to his reputation? And, unlike the court case that you collapsed, you won't have the backing of the Independent with you this time. So if you get caught red-handed on this, your career goes up in flames.